Good evening, everyone. My name is Riley Moores. I'm the class president of the class of 2027, and I have the honor of being your master of ceremonies for the evening. You guys did an amazing job at listening up right away. I think my class could learn a little bit from you guys, so hopefully your class, your students do the same. Before getting started, I want to say thank you to everyone for taking the time to attend and show your support for all of the students here tonight. They put in long hours, long days, and long nights to be here, and this is just the start of their journey. I promise it does not get easier as they go along, so your support is going to be crucial in everything that they do along the way. So throughout the night, let's make sure they feel encouraged and feel your support throughout the night. I've had the opportunity to interact with all of the students from the class of 2028 throughout the first month here, and to be honest, they have an amazing class. I know they can all hear me in the hallways right now, so I'm not trying to butter them up or butter you up, but I know they're going to have an amazing 4 years ahead of them. It's amazing to see all you guys dressed up here tonight, and there'll be lots of opportunities for photos out in the lobby afterwards, so make sure you stay your best. Now that I have your attention, there's a few announcements I wanted to share before we get started. This event is being live streamed tonight for those guests who are unable to make it. As we can see, there's a camera here, and yep, there's the camera. So I also please ask that everyone's phones are on silent. I'm sure no one would want your phone or anyone else's phone to be ringing when your family member, friend, partner is up here. So that would be greatly appreciated. If you have to leave the room, please exit through the back as you may have entered to please not disrupt the processes. The washrooms are located across the hall, so down the back and just down the other side if that is necessary. Jennifer Armstrong is a photographer for the event. She'll be taking photos throughout the night. So as your son, daughter, partner, friend is up here, please do not stand as you would block the view from other people. There'll be photos and please take photos while seated. In the unlikely event of an emergency, we ask that you calmly exit through these two doors here on the front, and then exit down the hallway, as many of you might have come, down into the parking lot, and next to lot 30 is where we will all meet. Assuming that everyone outside is ready to go, let us now welcome the class of 2028. Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight. We gather to celebrate and welcome the medical learners of the class of 2028 at their white coat ceremony. This evening marks an important milestone at the start of their journey into the medical profession. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge that the lands on which Memorial University's campuses are situated are in the traditional territories of diverse Indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province. The lands that we study on, benefit from, and where Memorial's campuses are located have been occupied, managed, and governed since time immemorial by Indigenous peoples. I would now like to introduce Dr. Dolores McKeen, the Dean of Medicine. Dr. Dolores McKeen received her Doctor of Medicine in 1992 and completed anesthesia postgraduate training in 1997, both at Memorial. In 2000, she completed an advanced clinical research fellowship in obstetric anesthesia at Dalhousie University through the IWK Health Center. And in 2004, she attained an MSc in clinical epidemiology from Memorial. During her 23 years in Nova Scotia, she was an anesthesia associate program director, a medical director of research, and chief of the IWK Women's and Obstetric Department of Anesthesia. In addition to her medical education roles and Canadian Institute of Health Research funded research career, she has also served in numerous national leadership roles. In September 2021, Dr. McKeen returned home to Newfoundland and Labrador to become the Faculty of Medicine Vice Dean of Education and Faculty Affairs. A full professor of anesthesia, she has served as the interim Dean of Medicine since August 1st, 2023. Please welcome Dr. McKeen.
Thank you so very much. Okay, so we have that there. All right. Just going to advance the slides. So thank you so very much, Riley. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our students in the class of 2028, their friends, family, and of course, our very distinguished guests. Welcome also to my colleagues, Dr. Taryn Hearn, the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Medical Education, and Dr. Heather Flynn, Interim Associate Dean, Learner Wellbeing and Success. And of course, to all of our amazing faculty and staff who are also here tonight. This is a very special evening as we host the White Coat Ceremony and welcome our newest medical students into the profession of medicine. The white coat for over 100 years has served as the preeminent symbol of professionalism and of healing and of being a physician. The word candor comes from the Latin, which in fact means white. And if you talk about the term candidate, that came from the fact that Romans, when they were seeking public office, often wore white togas. So white is considered foundational, as is candor and truth, to be an essential element of being a profession. But white and white coats weren't always a symbol of being a physician. And I love history, and I am a big history of medicine buff. So if you would grant me a little leniency here, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of being a physician and, and wearing a white coat, and a symbolism and how it represents the medical profession. Prior to the 19th century, medicine wasn't what it is now. And in fact, doctors did not wear white. They actually wore black or black garb. And so I'm just going to show you two paintings, both by Thomas Eakins, who was an American. And the very first painting is entitled The Gross Clinic, and it was painted in 1875. And it's at Jefferson Medical College, and it's in the amphitheater in Philadelphia. And Dr. Gross at the time and his assistants were all wearing black, very formal attire, and they're performing an amputation on a young man's leg. Of course, when we think about black, we often think about things that are dark and evil and potentially death. And a visit from the physician in those days was quite somber. It was not about healing. It represented someone who was suffering. It likely meant that they had a disease, and most likely that death was imminent. So at the time, there was very little knowledge about infectious disease transmission. And certainly a lot of doctors back in the day, black was pretty standard attire because not only was it formal, it actually hid the blood and the pus and the stuff that was on their clothing. And they often didn't know anything about antisepsis and bacteria and the spread of germs. And so what I'm painting here is not a very picture of medicine and being a physician back in that day. And I'm also, as you heard, an anesthesiologist, and this gentleman was getting his leg cut off, and there's no anesthesia back in that day. So this would have been a horrific procedure for this young man to have had done. The next image that you see, however, and it's by the same painter, And it's only 15 years later, 1889. And what you see there is a very airy and light operating theater at the Agnew Clinic in Pennsylvania. The idea of antisepsis was being sort of put forth. There was lots of evidence around how disease and infections spread. And really these ideas around were taking hold in Europe, and the need for cleanliness in medical environments and prevention of disease transmission, and particularly in obstetrics and having a baby, was just as simple as washing your hands. So here we see Dr. Agnew with a white smock, and his assistants all have a white smock or coats on. And there's now a sense of cleanliness. And this is where we start seeing the symbolism of white and scientific evidence being brought into medicine. So you see here that there's clearly a different, I think, feeling and an optimism in the room. And there's actually a nurse in the room as well. And you'll see that there's a gentleman holding a mask, and that's one of the first pictures of Anastasia. So from my perspective, that makes me very, very proud. So the tradition of more modern tradition of white coat is a much more modern. It's only been within the last 100 years. And really the ceremonial cloaking of a young doctor-to-be is representative of their medical career. And it's an important symbol of welcoming students into the career of medicine. And at Memorial, a little after my time, the first white coat ceremony was actually held in 2001. And this is an extremely exciting time for our learners and our students as they start their journey to become physicians. And it's a transition into the medical profession. And I want to reflect a little bit about my own sort of getting my first white coat. So I would have got it as a third year going into fourth year medical student as I became a clinical clerk. And I so remember that day when I got my white coat. And when you're a clerk, you get a short white coat. And my pockets when I went to the ward were just crammed full of books. And you couldn't fit a stick of gum in my pockets. They were so tight with all the little textbooks that I carried. And I would look at my senior residents and was so envious about how their pockets were empty. And to me, that symbolized the vast amount of knowledge and clinical skills and training that they had, and how nervous I felt that I had to have these books in my pockets, and I always wanted to have something there to consult. And of course, that was before the day of computers. And our learners now all days have iPads and iPhones and all that stuff, and they don't carry those books in their coats anymore. And you don't have the same heavy feeling, but you will too, maybe with a little less symbolism, realize that you don't need to check all those aids and devices anymore as you gain those knowledge and you transition from your undergraduate career to your postgraduate training. So while there's still a little less symbolism, you don't have those heavy pockets, you will notice that you don't have to consult your phone quite so often. So beyond the scientific knowledge that you gain from your classes and those books and the necessary tools that you need to treat, diagnose patients, medical students also have to learn empathy and compassion for our patients. And the white coat, I think nowadays, really symbolizes that part of our medical education, not so much the book learning or the didactics, but it's really symbolizes professionalism around caring and empathy. And it's the trust that we receive from our patients as being physicians. And here at Memorial University, within our Faculty of Medicine, being admitted to the Faculty of Medicine to our profession means that you have committed to leading and acting with integrity and with professionalism. As physicians, you don't serve your own self anymore. You serve our patients, you serve their families, you serve our communities. We have promised as physicians to engage and to listen to the communities we serve, to connect our research, our learning, and our service to the priorities of the greater good of our patients, and really to serve the healthcare needs of everybody that we serve. So you, as you enter into your profession, as you enter into the Faculty of Medicine, are now part of that commitment. Your professional identity develops as you become a physician. You need to understand your own strengths and all the things that make you unique, but those things also make you a better physician. And with that in mind, I want to share some advice with you. As members of the Faculty of Medicine's community, as I said, you have an obligation to treat everybody, but to treat them with respect, to support safe and nurturing environments, not only for our patients and for yourself, but for the staff and everybody who is in our environments and our space. Please be compassionate. You will care for people, for patients that are in the best of times, when they're having babies, when they're having some of the best times in their lives, but also during the hardest times when they're scared, they're worried, they're dealing with terminal illness, their family members may be dying. It is a privilege to care for our patients, and it's a privilege to care and be invited in to be part of their lives when they are most vulnerable, when they are most happy, when they are most sick. So you really, as I say, have to develop that compassion and empathy as a healer. So I would also say that you have to be compassionate and empathetic to yourself as well. That if you are uncomfortable or if you're unsure about a decision, do not hesitate to ask for help or to seek assistance. Be kind to yourself. Take time to spend time with your family and friends, because you too will experience hard times. And by participating in those things, they will make you whole and they will help you be able to deal with times when you can't heal others, when there are deaths and when outcomes are not great. If you're unwell yourself, you cannot help others. So please always take care of yourself and seek help. And people look to you. Always remember that you are no longer an individual. You are part of a professional community, and you have to understand that that's how you need to put yourself forward. So lastly, being a physician is a lifelong career. Be a lifelong learner. I am a PGY 32. That means I've been in practice for 32 years and I'm still learning. PG means postgraduate trainee. So it means I've been practicing for 32 years and I'm still learning. I'm still learning new treatments and I'm learning to become a better doctor. And as you get your white coat today, that's an important part of your journey as well. So I want you to know tonight that the entire team here at Memorial University's Faculty of Medicine is committed to ensuring that you have the most outstanding medical education and that you help support your families and thank them in return for all of the support that they have given you. And with that, I want to say welcome to the Faculty of Medicine. Welcome to the profession of medicine.
It's so loud.
Thank you, Dr. McKeen. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Georgia Darmonkow. Dr. Darmonkow made significant contributions to undergraduate student life, and her leadership qualities, research, endeavors, and volunteer work earned her numerous awards and educational grants. Prior to medical school, she completed a Bachelor of Business Administration and a Master's of Science in Clinical Epidemiology, both from Memorial University. She is currently completing her residency in orthopedic surgery. She spent her 4 years of medical school serving as class president and was a student representative on the NLMA Board of Directors, Faculty of Medicine, Culture of Excellence Committee, and the Faculty of Medicine Curriculum Review Team. She led the 2022 Faculty of Medicine Accreditation Independent Student Analysis, was involved with the Canadian Atlantic Medical Students Association, and was the sponsorship lead for the Monte Carlo Charity Gala. She was also a peer facilitator with the Gathering Rounds. Dr. Darmonkow has been a content expert with the Provincial Health Research Ethics Board for many years, and she hopes to continue on with leadership and advocacy roles in her postgraduate training. As such, she has joined the Board of Directors of the Provincial Association of Residents, Newfoundland and Labrador, and the Surgical Foundation's Program Committee. Please welcome Dr. Darmonkow.
Thank you so much, Riley. So good evening, class of 2028, family, friends, significant others, and of course, distinguished guests. So thank you so much for having me this evening. So as Riley said, my name is Georgia Darmonkow, and I was the president of the recently graduated class of 2024. So it is truly an absolute honor to be with you here this evening, as we've all gathered to celebrate the class of 2028 and your white coat ceremony. So it really wasn't that long ago that I sat where you are at my own white coat ceremony, probably riddled with the exact same feelings of pure joy, pride, excitement, and of course, a smidge of nerves coursing through my veins. So the first Memorial Faculty of Medicine graduating class had 16 students. So obviously we've come a long way since then, with about 80 odd extraordinary individuals that form a class each year. So you all have unique backgrounds, unique reasons for wanting to pursue medicine, and perhaps even unique ideas about what donning a white coat means. So maybe for some, you're the first in your family to go to university, let alone medical school. And perhaps for others, medical school may be somewhat of a family tradition. But whatever your story is, that's yours to hold on to. And what matters is that you're all here, and this is your starting point. So I was asked to talk to you guys tonight about things I wish I had known prior to starting medical school. So over the next few minutes, I will share my take on that. So I knew it would be important, and I'm really happy that I managed to stay true to myself. So as you embark on medical school, keep an open mind as to what field you want to practice in. Try your best not to be influenced by choices your peers are making, maybe some sort of influencer on TikTok, or something else that looks flashy. To be successful in residency, and of course your future career, you have to have the stamina, deep-rooted passion for what you're doing, and of course the skills to back it. So take the time to do some soul searching over your next few years and truly pick something that is the best fit for you. So I knew that I would, and I'm really grateful that I made the best of friends during medical school. So truly, you will come upon times where no one else will understand what you're going through, with the exception of your 80-odd classmates that are now basically your extended family. So whether it's a challenging block exam to study for, a heart-wrenching patient situation, or something that you felt really accomplished by, or anything in between that, they will get you. So as you look around the room as to the people sitting next to you, I'm sure there are people that you know from your undergrad, maybe a master's degree, work, whatever, that you weren't friends with before. But you're at square one now, and medicine has this real sneaky way of bonding you. So give that friendship a try, and I promise it'll last you a lifetime. So I knew that I should, and I'm really happy that I kept friends outside of medical school. Okay. I might be a little delirious post-call, and I know I just talked about keeping friends in your class, but truly, make sure that candle is lit with your friendships outside of the hallways of the medical school. While it's all fresh, new, and exciting right now, I promise you will end up needing a break from this place and all the medical talk that comes with it. So I really wanted to, and I'm thrilled that I managed to stay involved in extracurriculars inside and outside of the Faculty of Medicine. So I totally recognize everyone has a different affinity for taking on leadership roles, volunteering, committees, sports, whatever you want. But my suggestion to keep you grounded, and let's be honest, sane over the next 4 years, find a thing or two that you love and stick with it. You will definitely thank yourself later for having interests and commitments outside of medicine. So I knew that I should, and I'm happy that I availed of all sorts of learning opportunities, albeit sometimes begrudgingly. So this particular one might fall on deaf ears for now, but my hope is that down the road when you start clerkship, maybe you'll remember it. So you will have to work all kinds of hours in areas of medicine that may not be your cup of tea. But while you're a student, seek out and demonstrate keenness for all the opportunities that come your way. This could be procedures, consults, traumas, whatever. If a patient so much as has a sniffle, offer to go and see them. I know in the moment you're going to be tired. 9 chances out of 10, you'd rather go home. But I promise that it will serve you well down the road when you're the one responsible for these people. So I hope we have some fellow bakers or chefs in the room, because I'm about to share Grandma's secret recipe to success. And we all know Grandma's recipe can't be written down, and we can't share it outside the 4 walls of here. So here goes. A wholehearted splash of staying true to yourself, a dash of making friends in your class, a sprinkle of keeping friends outside of class, about a 1/4 cup of getting involved in extracurriculars, both inside and outside of medicine, but not so involved that you forget about your academics, and about 4 tablespoons in getting involved in whatever comes your way. So the cherry on top is to ask lots of questions, but not so many are at the wrong time that we think you're annoying. I'm just kidding about that part, but truly, don't ask us a question in the middle of an OR case that's gone haywire. So in addition to having fun, truly, this is all you need to succeed in your 4 years of medical school. So congratulations to each and every one of you for pursuing medicine and for challenging yourselves with this arduous but ever so rewarding career. Know that you're never alone, not for one footstep while you roam the hallways of the medical school or any of the hospitals in this province. So enjoy your 4 years to the fullest, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you in the next couple of years.
Thank you, Dr. Darmonkow. Now I would like to ask Adam to adjust the cameras in preparation for the white coats. Now, I would also like to introduce Dr. Taryn Hearn to initiate the honorary white coat presentation.
So, good evening, everyone. It's my profound honor to stand before you today to recognize someone whose contributions to medicine, education, and patient care have left an indelible mark, not just on the medical community of Newfoundland and Labrador, but on the entire field of neurosurgery. So as you've heard, the white coat has long stood as a symbol of trust, professionalism, and dedication to the care of others. It's more than just a piece of clothing. It represents a commitment to lifelong learning, compassion, and integrity. Today, I have the pleasure of helping present an honorary white coat to someone who exemplifies these values at the highest level, Dr. Falah Maroun. I was your intern back in 2002, so we've all had to work with Dr. Maroun. Dr. Maroun was born in Lebanon, where his journey into the world of medicine began. He obtained his medical training at the prestigious French Faculty of Medicine in Beirut. His passion for advancing the field of neurology and neurosurgery led him to complete his residency at the world-renowned The Neuro, which is the Neurological Institute in Montreal. Though initially planning to return to Lebanon after a brief period of work in St. John's, fate had other plans. The province became not just a waypoint, but the home of a 50-year-long career of dedicated service. Over decades, Dr. Maroun pioneered numerous neurosurgical procedures, including the first seizure surgery for epilepsy in the province, changing the lives of countless people. But he didn't just treat patients, he shaped the very field of neurosurgery in Newfoundland and Labrador. He served key leadership roles, including Chief of Neurosurgery, Chair of Surgery, and Clinical Chief of Surgery. Under his leadership, the Department of Surgery flourished, promoting a cohesive and collaborative environment among all the surgical disciplines. Dr. Maroun also worked tirelessly alongside his colleagues in groundbreaking research, contributing to the eradication of spina bifida, and conducting significant research on familiar intracranial aneurysms. He was instrumental in creating the Atlantic Neuroscience Society and established weekly video conference rounds that brought together the Atlantic provinces to collaborate and share knowledge, an example of his belief in the collective advancement of the medical field. But Dr. Maroun's contributions go beyond the operating and clinic rooms. As an educator at Memorial University, he's helped shape the next generation of healthcare professionals, instilling in them the importance of compassion, collaboration, and excellence. He developed nurse training programs that continue to improve postoperative neurosurgical care and introduced the Think First program, which educates students on preventing head and neck injuries. His work has extended to public awareness as well. He produced a movie on epilepsy and authored a medical book on congenital diseases of the spine in children. Dr. Maroun's accomplishments have been recognized on both the national and international stages. Among his numerous accolades include that he was presented with the Knight of the Order of the Cedar of Lebanon, a tribute to his humanitarian work and his contributions as a Lebanese neurosurgeon. He received the Order of Canada, Médaille d'Ordre de Mérite of France, and the Prix d'Excellence Award from the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons. He was also honored with the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal and was appointed Lifetime Honorary President of the World Association of Lebanese Neurosurgeons. Recently, he was awarded the NLMA Lifetime Achievement Award, an honorary doctorate of science from Memorial University, and the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. Dr. Maroun's legacy is not only in the milestones that he's achieved, but the lives he's touched and the future he has helped shape. His dedication to promoting the idea of surgeons as gifted physicians reminds us that while surgery requires technical skill, it's the human connection that best defines the profession. So Dr. Maroun, is with great admiration and respect that we present this honorary white coat to you today. This is not just a recognition of your career, but a symbol of the immense impact you've had on the field of neurosurgery, on education, and the countless patients whose lives you changed for the better. So friends, colleagues, learners, please join me in welcoming and honoring Dr. Maroun. Yes.
Well, we have it here too. Take it out. I was given 2.5 minutes to say what I wanted to say. So after negotiations, it went up to 7 minutes. So relaxed. I was stretching to 8. Congratulations and welcome to the greatest calling ever, to the profession mission that you have chosen. Yes, we need you. We need the real McCoy doctor, the gifted physician, my definition of surgeon, and the many other good attributes that you can find. Can you imagine the power, the responsibility dealing with such item as life and death? And how about suffering? And as a matter of fact, the many difficulties that we encounter during our journey in the Valley of Tears. That is Mother Earth. Indeed, your challenge will be much greater than your previous generation, facing together with the explosion of technology, the rise of artificial intelligence, and a demanding society. I'm not blaming anybody. We are all involved in forging somehow the path that relates to our healthcare. After all, the players are multiple and we are one of them. Patient and family, society, physician, you and me, nursing and support staff, hospital administration, board of trustees, medical director, medical school, and not forgetting, of course, the government. Let me, through my 52 years of academical, clinical, and administrative work, give you a few tips to alleviate some of the anxiety that you may encounter on your hopefully long journey. Not like mine, but thereabout. Let me start with academia. Here you are with young, intact cognitive functions ready to be impregnated by the seed of knowledge that the medical school will offer you. Most of you see academia as a holy place visited by few privileged customers. To me, whether you sat under the oak tree, the maple tree, or even the cedar tree behind the computer or in the shadow of the rock, academia is a part of you, a part of human being who has a brain. Simply put, it is a mixed process of learning and teaching. You may improve your academia by growing fruits on any of these trees. Believe me, you will wear this gown of academia, whether you want it or not. You will live and die wearing this. So relax. You are academic, and I will witness your baptism. The second advice is work. I will leave the detail to you. Lifestyle, hours of work. The only thing I would suggest is to keep the working atmosphere a pleasant and happy one. Promote team spirit and cohesiveness. Don't forget, after all, that you spend 50% of your time working, 30% sleeping, and 20% socializing, that is COVID permitting. My third advice to you is how to cope with stress. Medical workers, particularly physicians, have different variety of stress. Stress of judgment, anxiety before diagnosis and treatment, stress of surgery, follow-up, medical and administrative politics. With additional overwork, a burnout state becomes more frequent. To my mind, and simply putting it, there are two types of stress, the unproductive and productive stress. In the first one, the scenario is a classic one and goes something like this. Lives have become entangled in stress. We blindly follow the complicated path that led before us by others, and we become trapped in a maze of multicolored catacombs. We march blindly behind a civilization we partially forged. With 9-to-5 jobs, the zero of infinity of employment, sex, family, children, taxes, the muffler of the car, inflation, COVID, religion, and God. From all this, we find ourselves trapped in a state of confused restlessness. Everyone is stressed like this to a certain degree, but many of us make preoccupation with these many factors a way of life, leading to a real disease. In the productive stress, which you have to enhance, many have delivered themselves from the state of confused restlessness, partially or totally through religion or other means. The tools of strengthening your productive stress are already built within your medical and humane skill, and they will be of great help to you. My final message, perhaps the most important, is the one which deals with life and death. Welcome again, and let me remind you that you are a physician to be. With the technological advances, the demands of a materialistic society, and the upcoming wars with artificial intelligence and the viruses, you have to ask yourself these questions, even at the beginning of your career. Where are we heading? A form of assembly line? A march towards robotic behavior? Where is the humanity chapter of medicine? One of our grand medical fathers, Sir William Osworth, McGill University, sent you these pearls from the 19th century. He said, a good physician treats the disease. The great physician treats the patient who has the disease. A famous Lebanese American oncologist, Philippe Salem, only a few years ago, said it in these powerful words: medicine is not a profession like any other. It is a calling. It is a calling which rises above all calling. In this, the physician rises higher, as high as any human can reach. He rises above geography, politics, religion, and ideology. He rises to the human being. In medicine, the physician rises above the reputation, power, and money, rises to the ultimate greatness, and the patient is not a client, as it is called nowadays. He continues, and I'm translating this from Arabic. The patient may be a weak human being, but is a human being who has his dignity, and he may be a defeated human being in front of us, but is a human who deserves love. Medicine is happiness in giving and humanity in front of the greatness of its knowledge. Let me finish with a Newfoundland and Labrador version. My 19-year-old granddaughter confronted me a couple of years ago with a sincere request that she wanted to be a doctor. When I asked her why, she replied, without hesitation, I want to help people. I told her that medicine is a noble profession and reminded her to keep in mind my teaching of the 4 C's. They were alluded about them very nicely by Hardin: competence, care, compassion, and communication, which represent the real pillar of good medical practice. Whatever we do to improve and adjust needed healthcare problem, the message is simple. Let us practice our 4 C's. Remain human for the time being, preserve your imagination, and control the robot in you. Congratulations again. Good luck in your exciting journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Maroun. And now tonight's main presentation. I would like to invite Dr. McKeen to the podium to read the names, and Dr. Flynn and Dr. Hearn to please join us at the front of the room so that we can begin the presentation of the white coats. Learners, please have your coats ready. Once you are coated, Jennifer will take your photo and you can return back to your seats.
Good to go? Okay. Good. I'd like to invite Chelsea Abbott to come forward. Oh, 2 at a time, sorry. Samantha Allen. Claire Andrews, Isaac Avery. Maria Airward, Brianna Barish. Heather Berry, Julian Blackwood. Kira Anfonia, Catherine Bowes. Juliana Brinston, Kaylee Burry. Emma Campisi, Sarah Carew. Sam Chalker, Nadan Chandrakant. Elizabeth Clark, Hannah Cook. Keely Cox, Kayla Crichton. Leah Kernew, Nash Denick. Kazum Dogar, Victoria Duke. Sarah Duraid, Mayar Elbaz. Kareem El Nas, Abby Fleming. April Fruit, Amory Proud. Bria Gallant, Nick Goss. Holly Grant, Caitlin Hall. Emma Hamilton, Nicole Head. Aaron Hopkins, Anna James. Tori Kendall, Alicia Kettle. Brianna King, Emily King. Jill Cable, Grace McIntosh. Andrew McLagan, Zubia Mahmood. Grace Marco, Arista Marthiman. Ava McGrath, Sarah Muzikan. Abby Pace, Tristan Paranavitana. Aaron Matthews, Jackson Mayo. Andrew Purdy, Jacob Penny. Katie Perry, Hale Pierce. Nick Pike, Ian Poole. Evan Powell, Jacob Power. Riley Radford, Danielle Reed. Olivia Ryan, Shrikat Saha. Maria Salif, Abigail Schwartz. Mackenzie Skinner, Donovan Snow. Nicole Spencer, Ashley Stringer. Sheridan Taylor, Nikolai Thiessen. Yovrad Finge, Ariel Thomas. Radhika Verma, Nicole Walsh. Marie Wasif, Brenda Wells. Claire Withen, Noah Williams. Cole Windsor, Alexis Wood. And our last candidate to be admitted is Donovan Winan. I can say we have a fine, fine class of 2028. Welcome.
Congratulations, class of 2028. I hope you remembered some of your walk, because I don't. I blacked out. And I struggled to get my coat on, so you all did better than me. Thank you, Dr. McKeen, Dr. Flynn, and Dr. Hearn. Next, I would like to invite Dr. William Pryse-Phillips, who has been on the faculty of Memorial University of Newfoundland since 1972, and has been a professor of medicine in neurology at Memorial since 1980, and a professor emeritus and since 2004. His clinical and research interests have included genetic neural, muscular, and cerebral diseases, migraine, dementia, and the epidemiology of multiple sclerosis. He is a reviewer for 6 journals, serves on the editorial boards of 3 others, and is the author of over 120 peer-reviewed papers or book chapters. Please welcome Dr. Pryse-Phillips, who will recite the Oath of Geneva with the new learners.
Thank you, Riley. Class of 2028. I'd like to start by quoting the words of Marshall McLuhan. We don't wear clothes, we wear costumes. When wearing your symbolic white coat, you are enacting the role of a doctor, even before graduation. For well over 30 years, white coats have been a kind of rite of passage for medical students in North America. But a much older symbol of our profession is the caduceus, a staff coiled about by 2 snakes, representing knowledge and wisdom. Today, as the late Robertson Davis reminded us, they may be regarded as depicting, respectively, science and humanism. Although the 2 snakes were once regarded as being in conflict, science and humanism must always be reconciled in our minds. In medical school, there is an emphasis on science, or if you like, knowledge, rather than wisdom. But to quote Davis again, in part, wisdom is what makes a doctor look not at the disease, but at the bearer of the disease. It is what creates the link that unites the healer with his patients. It is wisdom that tells the physician how to make the patient a partner in his own cure. As I leave medicine and you enter it, the academic environment which I once met and which you now meet are very different. For me, years ago, the emphasis was on getting to know the person I was looking after, using whatever knowledge I'd gained from teachers and from private study to direct them along the path I thought most beneficial. Today, medicine is much more evidence-based and data-driven. So it's easy to lose the human perspective when diagnosis and management are sometimes computed for you on the basis of checked boxes. But of course, that is the science, which you must embrace and allow to guide you. But the art of medicine is in interpreting those data for the person whose problems you are trying to solve. When you were asked to interview why you wanted to study medicine, you may or may not have said that you wanted to help out your fellows in this world. But even if you didn't, I expect you thought it. And thus you agreed to differentiate yourselves from the general run of our society, accepting that in your new roles as shaman, priest, detective, friend, advocate, and medical advisor, you will carry secrets and make decisions and take responsibilities far more than your plumber or your hairdresser or your accountant will ever have to shoulder. Whether or not you feel you have earned this status by having the knowledge to discharge it yet, You will be seen by your patients as white-coated doctors, possessed both of knowledge and of the wisdom in using it. That's why today we ask you to mark the earliest days of your medical studentship by reading out the World Health Organization's distillation of the Hippocratic Oath. It lays out some of the principles which must forever guide your practice. So if you agree, please stand or sit as may be most convenient for you, and we will recite the Declaration of Geneva together. Let's begin. As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. Health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will omit considerations of age, disease, or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession with confidence and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice. I will foster the honor and noble traditions of medical professions. I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of health care. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises freely. Thank you, class. May these words be a constant reminder to you of your commitment to the values that sustain all of us in medicine. I greet you now, no longer as laypersons, but as the newest members of our medical community. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Pryse-Phillips. Before we conclude, we would like to extend a warm thank you to the following: Dr. Dolores McKeen, Dr. Georgia Darmonkow, Dr. Falah Maroun, Dr. Taryn Hearn, Dr. Heather Flynn, the Office of Learner Wellbeing and Success, Health Sciences, Information and Media Studies, also known as HSIMS, Undergraduate Medical Education, the Communications Office, and all of our volunteers for supporting the White Coat Ceremony tonight. Before I leave you all to your celebrations in the Med Foyer, while I have to go study for my exam on Monday, I wish to impart on you some words of wisdom, and I'll keep this quick, I promise. First of all, for the family members, partners, and friends in the audience, please be patient. The first year in particular is a learning curve, and figuring out how to balance school, life, and well-being is not so easy. If there's anything you can do to help, it is honestly the small stuff: cooking a meal, doing a load of laundry, or just being there to offer a helping hand, especially during the week before an exam. And for the students or learners, get involved. Enjoy every free meal that's offered. Take advantage of all the freebies that will be offered to you in your future, and take control of your future. Your life will completely change over the next 4 years of medical school, and furthermore into residency. But remember to say thank you and show your appreciation for the people that helped make it all possible, because without them, you would not be here today. Maybe even take them out for a meal to celebrate. I know you have that big line of credit, so However, one thing that you can do right now that is free is to show some support for the people that got you here today. So if the students or the learners could actually give everyone else a round of applause, that'd be greatly appreciated. Although the support system you just applauded will continue to be there throughout your next 4 years, you are surrounded by a new family today, 86 strong. Only a month ago, you were 86 individual people with different stories, different life experiences, and different dreams. And I want you to stay who you are and stay as more than a medical student. But these people surrounding you now will become your best friends, the people you rely on most, as they'll be going through the same struggles as you are, and you might even have a future lifelong partner in the mix. But starting today, you are a family, and you are the class of 2028. We now invite all guests to join us in the Med Foyer for the reception. The small learning rooms throughout the area are available for guest seating, and I asked Dr. McKeen and the class to stay back for a group photo, after which they will make their way to the reception area to join the guests for the cake cutting by your new 2028 class president, Aaron Matthews. Thank you so much for being amazing tonight, and have a wonderful evening.